we'll take a look at the Add Settings page. As you can see, we have two tabs, one for product group settings and the other one is campaign settings override. It is very important to understand what a product group is. The simplest way to put it is that a product group would include those campaigns that advertise the same SKU or group of SKUs. Think about it, see how that applies to your account. Most people will have one ASIN with one SKU, others might have several SKUs for the same ASIN, and once again, it also depends on what kind of a campaign structure you're going to use. Are you going to be advertising the same SKU, just one single SKU in a set of campaigns, or are you going to have more than one SKU in it, maybe even different products, a whole product line, and the software is going to look at all those SKUs, and every campaign that have the same exact active SKUs in it will become a product group. Certain settings on this page, as you will see, such as a target ACoS, for example, could apply to that product group, and so every single campaign that is included in that product group. However, you might want to take one specific campaign, go to the second tab, campaign settings override, and decide that that one single campaign needs, for example, an individual, separate, different target ACoS. That is what that second tab is for. To be totally honest, when I'm looking at accounts, managing different accounts, helping people for their account with their accounts, I always suggest to think with product groups. As you become more and more trained in PPC and more experienced, you will see why that could be beneficial to you. Either way, you can see that we have one main settings here. We actually call that default settings, used to be global settings. You can see both show up in the software. It's going to refer to the same thing. It's basically account level settings. And when you go into one specific row or line, here you will see that the setting icon is there too. That will apply to this specific product group, including the same SKUs in the first column. All right, so let's say I wanted to look at my account level settings with this cogwheel icon there. Once you click it, this is what you should be seeing. Once again, whether it's called global defaults, global settings, default settings, account settings, is all the same thing. Here it's called global defaults. You can see bid optimizer target ACoS. This would be at account level. And under every small window value, you have a one-liner to remind you what that is, what that figure is for, what that value is for. Just to go back to the original page, if I was looking at the product group and this lower level setting, then I click on it and I get a window something like this, reminds me of which product group I'm looking at. Here is the SKU in this case, one single SKU. If I had more than one in that product group, then they would be all listed here to remind me what SKUs are in that product group. And then here I have the figures. So in this case, you saw that on account level, we had a 30% target ACoS. However, this product group is 24. So this figure overrides my 30, and that's why you see the 24 here instead. On other things, for example, keyword extractor conversion limit, since I didn't set something specific to this product group, I have the global value that is carried over, and I'm reminded what that would be. If you change anything on any of these windows, obviously make sure that you confirm with this blue button, and that way save the changes. Okay, now that was product group. My campaign names usually include the ASIN. So here I am actually searching for an ASIN, and therefore I'm seeing every single campaign that is for that ASIN. This way it's very easy for me to see which campaigns would be advertising the same product. If I come in here and, for example, my 24 target ACoS for the product group has to be something else for this specific particular campaign, I could use this pencil icon and set a different target ACoS for that one single campaign, or 2 out of the whole group, or something like that. Anything I do here is going to be campaign level, which means I could also go to this setting icon here that is almost invisible, but once you hover over it will become visible. Once you click on that, similarly to the other page where we were looking at product group level, so here product group level, that icon would apply to this product group. Here that icon would apply to this single campaign because we are on the campaign settings override. And once I click it, I will be getting a window here reminding me which campaign I am in. Here would be my ACin. I told you I always include the ACin. Here it tells me that it's an exact campaign. And every figure I put in here, similar window to the others, these figures will now override everything else, either a figure I put in, a value I entered in for account level settings or product group settings. And for this specific campaign, this entire window and those values, as long as I confirm and save them, will take over. Every single tool, for example, Bid Optimizer, is going to be using the figure I put here for target ACoS and not what the entire product group or the entire account would have as a figure. Okay, good. Back to the original page. We are on product group settings. Obviously, we have more buttons here: edit targets, create campaigns, add keywords, ACINs to target campaign. And when you hover over, for example, here, set targets, it gives you a longer explanation, set target campaigns. What that really means is you are connecting campaigns to keyword extractor, unless you created the campaigns in Summarize Seller, in which case the software has already done this. But let's say you haven't, or for whatever reason it needs to be changed with the edit target button, in which case you would be editing the target campaigns. And you've probably seen this already on the welcome page, but target campaign is where your keywords that are being extracted, or ACINs in the future being extracted, are going to be put into. That's the target campaign. That's where these items are going into. And source campaign would be what you are extracting from. For example, a phrase campaign, you could be extracting a search term into an exact campaign, and then that search term becomes a keyword in your exact campaign. Or once we have this feature, let's say from an auto campaign, you could be extracting a well-converting ACIN into a product targeting campaign. So the auto campaign in this case would be your source campaign, and the target campaign would be the product targeting or ACIN targeting campaign. Those little blue numbers, once you hover over them, will show what else is in this space that cannot be shown right now because the space is not enough. It only shows the broad match, samurai, ad group, but there are apparently 3 more. Anywhere in the software where you see these numbers, for example, actually even on our first screen, you have seen there is one more campaign, there is one more ACIN and SKU in here too. Or in this case, this is a campaigns column. You have that campaign name that I covered up here, an auto campaign, plus 4 more. So once you hover over, it will tell you what else is in that space. Okay, good. Now, create campaigns would be used if you don't have the campaign that you want to make into a target campaign. You could click this button and just create one. Only use it if the campaign simply doesn't exist. If it does exist, just use the set targets button, or if you want to change your settings, then use the edit targets button. And then once you click it, the window that comes up will be pretty self-explanatory. It tells you that you are going to select the target ad groups. Since we recommend only one ad group per campaign, target campaign, target ad group is really going to be the same. However, if the names are very similar, then the name of the ad group telling you phrase, exact, or something like that might be an easier way for you to pick. This is actually an error here. It says connect only campaigns that have all or a single match type in the campaign. We will change this. It will only say single match type. If you have multiple match types in the same campaign, keyword extractor is not going to work for you 100%. Just like with any software, it's usually built for a certain campaign structure. On the welcome page, I explain this in copy, in text form, but just to briefly go over that, one ad group per campaign, a single match type per campaign. Obviously have as many campaigns as you want, but also whatever you put into one product group, make sure that it's a set of campaigns that are going to relate to each other. You're going to be extracting from a campaign in that product group into another campaign that is also in the same product group. That would make the most sense. Otherwise, you are going to be extracting from a campaign that is advertising a certain SKU and putting it into a target campaign that is advertising a different SKU. It might become confusing. If you just stick with creating the campaigns in Summarize Seller, the software will already make sure that all these groupings are done correctly for you. But if you are bringing existing campaigns for some reason, you don't want to recreate them or something like that, just read every line and make sure that what you do, you really understand. Here it says broad group. There is a question mark, phrase group, exact group, question mark. Click on it or hover over and see what it tells you. It will tell you select an ad group where we will add the converting keywords with an exact match, because you are selecting the exact group. If this was phrase group, it would tell you phrase match, obviously. This gives you more focused bidding. Also, even though you have all the three match types listed here, it doesn't mean you have to choose one. If you don't want to extract the keyword also as a phrase match into the phrase group and as a broad match into the broad group, then just only fill it in the exact group. And as it says here, type to search ad groups. Once you start typing, they will pop up. They will populate from your account, so you can easily scroll through and find the one that you want to choose. If you want to edit what is already there, use this red button, clear groups. It's going to clear all of them, and you just choose all the three or two or only one, depending on what you want keyword extractor to do. At the bottom here, negative match in source ad group. I would like to point out that with the campaign structure that is being recommended by Summarize Seller, you already have certain negative matching done in phrase and broad group according to what keywords you have put into each of the campaigns, exact, phrase, and broad. However, if you are extracting a keyword with keyword extractor from an auto campaign, the software wouldn't know what you want to do now with what you just extracted. So this is just an example, an auto campaign. I'm using it as an example because it's easy to understand. Now, you could tell the software, when I am extracting, I want what I extracted always to be negative matched in that source campaign. So the source campaign is no longer going to target that, or never, in which case the source campaign is going to continue target that, as well as all my target campaigns that I just extracted this keyword into. However, my recommendation, and what I mostly use, is negative match it in that source campaign. For example, in this case, in my auto campaign, when the ACoS in that auto campaign was over my target ACoS. So if my target ACoS was 30%, but this keyword has been converting, however, at 100% ACoS, I'm going to extract it. I'm going to be more precisely bidding on it and probably put the ACoS closer to my 30% target in an exact campaign. But meanwhile, please, auto campaign, stop targeting it, because obviously it's not producing a good ACoS in that source campaign. Probably one more thing I want to mention is obviously use filters like I showed you. Here is the filter button, and I showed you one example where I'm filtering for certain asyn because it's included in all my campaigns. But you can filter for many other things, as you already know from all the other tools. Definitely use it. The other thing is that there is a task button here. However, we have a task list, an entire other feature, so I'm going to explain it there, what this is for. However, for right now, just know that if I am on product group settings and I click task, I am going to add that task for that product group. If I am on campaign settings override and I click that task button, then it's only going to apply to this row, to this campaign, whatever that campaign is. Besides the add task feature, we have one more button here, add keywords asyncs to target campaigns. If I click that button, I will be adding certain keywords as asyncs that I want to this entire product group. So I'm not going to have to go into, let's say, the broad campaign and the phrase campaign and the exact campaign and individually add the same keywords. And I also won't have to do the phrase negative match in broad campaign and the exact negative match for those same keywords in the phrase campaign, etc. Because the software will do it for me by using this button. When I add asyncs on the next page, as you have seen on the Create Campaigns video, first you have the opportunity to add keywords. Obviously skip it, go to the next page if you don't want to add keywords, and then the next page you can add asyncs. And that will do it for this video.